Missing Voices platform, which imekuwa consortium of both national and grassroots human rights defenders, imekuwa very key kumonitor na kudocument. And in the first 8 months of 2020, we were able to document 115 cases. Out of these 115 cases, 8 were enforced disappearances. Out of the 8, 2 of the victims were found dead, and the 6 are not yet to be found. And out of the other killings, we can see that 76 ni multiple of killings that have happened, and this tells us that killings zimekuwa of more than a person. Unapata ni instances where more than one person is killed, and this shows that there is so much and there is gross misconduct and also enforced or excess use of power with the police. So we are calling upon everybody, hata wale hawako kwa platform, that we be aware that we know what is happening, and we also do documentation from our own spaces, because we are the people who can bring the powers from the constitution to a part where we see these different institutions taking care of our rights, taking care of each people, taking care of the spaces that we have, so that we don't see more of disappearances, but we see that the channel of getting justice for victims and those who have been found in crime is fair.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We are commemorating the International Day for Victims of Enforced Disappearances. And for this session, we'll be having a legal analysis around the right to an order of habeas corpus. And the right to an order of habeas corpus is established under the Constitution of Kenya, Article 25, subarticle D. And we are joined by students of law from different universities. And one is a student from the Kenya School of Law. And we are going to delve into the legal aspects of that surround the issue of enforced disappearances. And to start us off, my name is Stephen Mwangi. I'm from the Mathare Social Justice Center, and I'm also a student of law from the Strathmore Law School. Yes.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacinta Njoroge. I'm from the Kenyatta University School of Law, and I am representing students, legal practitioners, and also Mathare Justice Center.
Yes.
My name is Alicia Maira from Strathmore University. I am a second year law student, and my concern with the issue of enforced disappearance is that, you are born free, you have a right to liberty, and I don't see why anyone should illegally imprison you or detain you. So yes, we are here to talk about that.
Hello everyone, my name is Fano Namolo. I am a lawyer and a student of the Kenya School of Law. And why I'm here, I think it's because I'm a firm believer of the rule of law, and that laws exist for a reason. No one has the privilege to get to pick and choose what laws to follow. Everyone is under the law, so that means law is supreme. So that is why I want to champion this. I want to be part of this discussion and champion the rights of the voices.
Great.
Good evening. I'm Orengo. I'm a student at University of Nairobi Law School, and also a member of Mathare Social Justice Center. And I'm here because I've witnessed so many people being undergoing through forced disappearance. Majority have not been seen today. And we've tried to apply for habeas corpus, but due to gaps in law, it has not managed to be successful or to be granted. So basically we want to identify the gaps in law that makes this thing not serving the community or serving Kenyans as it should be. Thank you.
Community members received this constitution with so much hope, with so much positivity towards the implementation of this constitution. But the problem still persists. We still have people disappearing in our communities without any cause of redress. We still have people being killed, people being tortured, And we still have police officers operating with impunity. Police officers are the ones on the front line of putting the communities living in fear, community members living in situations where they feel intimidated. And to start us off on this discussion, I'd like to welcome Jacinta, who will explain to us the establishment of the right to an order of habeas corpus. Yes.
And I think I'll take it off from what Stephen has said, that it is a challenge for young people to actually walk in the streets especially in informal settlements. And we can all agree that every one of us has a different idea of what the most important human rights is for them. For some, it's the right to life, for others, it's the right to human dignity. But for me, it will be the right to freedom and security of a person. So when he says that it is a challenge for young people to actually walk around the streets, that means that these people are afraid of their own freedom and security, such that I'm afraid of walking around the streets because a cop can just pick me up, put me in a van or a Land Cruiser, and my family never sees me again. So what we are talking about today is the right to habeas corpus. And even before we construct on what exactly the right to habeas corpus is, it's to define actually what habeas corpus is. Simply, it means produce the body. So when a person disappears, either by being taken by the police, you can petition the court for that person to be produced, such that even if they committed a crime or it was just out of, I don't know, you know how these things happen, or I will expound more on that. So if this person is taken by police, maybe they are saying has committed a crime, the Constitution provides that every person should be presented in court to actually plead to the charges within the soonest time possible. So if this person is not presented to court, they have the right of an arrested person to apply for habeas corpus, because the Constitution provides that if you're arrested and you have a case to answer, you should be present in court. And if that person is not present in court, it means that the police are detaining him illegally. And so this person, or if because he's not there, people on their behalf under the Constitution and a public interest litigation, people can apply for the right to habeas corpus so that this person can be produced in court, so that this person can be able to plead to their offenses if they exist at all. But also I would like to mention that it's not only the Constitution of Kenya that provides for this, it's constitutions all over the world, because this is an issue that has been recognized over and over. It's a human rights issue that people experience all over the world. So to that regard, Kenya has signed but not ratified the International Convention on Protection of All Persons Against Enforced Disappearance, which says that actually enforced disappearance has no defense. So the government cannot justify any form of enforced disappearance, whether by abduction, whether by kidnapping or anything. So the government cannot, even if it's, the convention says no sort of emergency can justify, even if the Constitution provides that the freedom to security and safety of the person can be limited in terms of state emergencies. But that convention says that no justification whatsoever can be given for enforced disappearance.
Even with all these legal frameworks, something needs to be done. And I'd now like to welcome Alicia to take us through the procedure.
The right to an order of habeas corpus is an inviolable right. Like, it can't be, it's a non-derogable right under our constitution. So to institute the formal process of instituting this application for an order of habeas corpus is that you apply through a chamber summons. So it basically means that unaandika application and then you take it to a magistrate or a judge, whichever court officer is closest to you. So you take it to a magistrate, and then the magistrate is supposed to write that order. You know, the order is given by the court. So the magistrate is supposed to write the order to whoever has or whoever is suspected to cheating that person. So kama una suspect mtu wako ako police station mahali na umekatazwa kumuona ama hauko sure, the magistrate is supposed to write an order telling that authority, that police station, to produce the person. So enforced disappearances they can happen in many ways, but the most common ones are that mtu alikuja akabebwa, either they were committing a crime ama alikuwa nje saa moja kenda kwa nyumba. So if it is in the former, it was actually a crime that they had committed, alafu akapelekwa cell, alafu 24 hours ikapita. The constitution provides that no one should be detained for more than 24 hours without being taken to court, unless, of course, it's on a Sunday where you've been arrested on a Sunday evening. So 24 hours, a Saturday evening, 24 hours will have to elapse before you can be presented before a court. Then, this is a human rights issue, the last thing. Yes, there is procedure, but again, personally, if my child is abducted, amepotea, amebebwa na polisi, I don't think I have the time to go and write whatever I need to present to the magistrate. You can simply do a letter, write the name of the person who's been disappeared, where they were last seen, how they were arrested, who is suspected to have arrested them, and who you are writing as behalf. So if it's my child, I'll say, mimi ni mama yake. And then you present it either to the police station or to a working group, an NGO, the Law Society of Kenya, any organization that deals in public interest litigation. If you do such a letter, and maybe you don't even have the costs of litigation to start getting a lawyer to draft the application, then a simple letter detailing all those things should be able to enable you to get justice and hopefully find the person who's been disappeared.
This principle of habeas corpus, it is an inviolable right. That means there is no way in law that you can justify its curtailment. Whoever tries to take away that right from you is wrong. Hakuna mtu pale ataenda aseme huyu aliua mtu na alikuwa anakimbia nikamshika nikamficha. Like, so long as you are arrested, the rights of an arrested person, and that those rights include that habeas corpus simply means that whoever it is a court order that is given, that whoever is holding you should bring you to court, because a court is like a level playing field. The one who's accusing you will come and will be given an opportunity to speak, and those accusations will be leveled against you. But even after, you will still be given an opportunity to speak to those accusations. So, and at the end of the day, everyone gets to be heard and justice is done. And to that extent, I think the courts have done really well. You get compensation for every arrest and detention that is unlawful. So when you go to court, you will present your case and you will ask the court that you want to be compensated for the wrongful detention and arrest.
Great. And I think one other one that I think is a very possible one. One remedy for a person who's forcefully disappeared is actually the person being brought to court. Yeah, that when you take the case to court and where they've not disappeared and they've not been found for say an year, and maybe they've been assumed that they are dead. Yeah. Besides compensation, if you take it within the shortest time possible, and the issue is discussed within the shortest time possible, then one clear remedy is that if the case goes on properly, all the concerned institutions or authorities do their work, that the person is actually going to be brought to court.
As a human rights defender, I've seen reports with documented cases, especially dealing with suspects of terrorism. Many have been disappeared. People who their cases were going, they were on bail, and someone is released. But along the way, when this guy is going to mosque, then is kidnapped by somebody whom you don't know. And when you apply for this right, it's thrown out of court. And why it proves to us that it's the police. When we were looking for those 3 of our comrades who we've never found to date, we went to mobs, and Steve said as we were identifying bodies, and even postmortem results of those people who we found there, these people didn't have teeth, the tongue was cut, they were tortured, you see, they were tortured, and there are people whom their families have reported that they were kidnapped by police not in uniform, police in casual clothing. So, but the police denied. So by the fact that they were tortured, and there is that consistency in this, you see, they disappear with you for 2-3 weeks, and I suspect they tell the mob attendants when these people come to tell them hawajapatikana. So, but after identifying these bodies, you find very strange things in these people, which only the police can do, especially those who are acting under somebody's orders, those with intention of killing somebody. So, as a community human rights defender, I would propose some few demands. You see, we always say jurisprudence is a living organism. It can be improved. We need to find a way of improving this right on habeas corpus, especially if we've witnessed, there are so many young people we've witnessed being taken by the police. We've gone to IPOA to report this person as being kidnapped. IPOA hasn't done anything. Only to report days later this person was disappeared and is being found dead. So in such instances, those kind of gaps should be included in this right of habeas corpus. So that as long as we can prove it's so and so acting on behalf of state, then this person should be compelled to produce these people.
Great. Thank you so much for that analysis, Orengo. And I think from these discussions, what's coming out clearly, it seems there's a deliberate effort to hinder families from accessing justice for their forcefully disappeared loved ones. And when I look at that issue, the law itself that kind of curtails people from being forcefully disappeared is not preventative. It doesn't look like there are mechanisms put in place to ensure that there's prevention from people being forcefully disappeared. With that being said, I thank you so much for participating in this discussion. And as we conclude, I'd request that we do one demand each. One demand or one request to community members. You can do a demand to the government, to the National Police Service itself directly, or you can make a request to community members towards putting an end to enforced disappearances. Yes. So I've already done mine to the Inspector General of Police. Yes. Orengo, you'd like to start?
It's okay. So I'd like to tell my fellow Kenyans, read the law, not the law. Your right is not a request, it's a demand. And as I always say, you will never get what you deserve, you'll get what you demand.
My demand would be for police officers, 2 police officers actually. My demand would be that you respect the rule of law. Laws exist for a reason, and laws are not suggestions. You will not get to pick and choose which laws to respect when and where.
My demand is probably to the National Police Service and the government as a whole. The same way there was an alleged crackdown by the EACC, by the Anti-Corruption Commission on corruption. I think enforced disappearances are a greater crime to humanity than corruption. So the same weight being put on corruption, greater weight should be put on the police one, because I mean, we know they're the ones who are disappearing people. It's a state organ. What the police are state instruments. So even in courts, I don't think monetary compensation is enough compensation. Those police officers who we know that are disappearing people should be arraigned in court. The court should ensure that the victims get justice, that akitoka hapo hataenda tena ashikwe by the same court or their partners. So yeah, there should be a serious crackdown on the police, a cleanup, so that rights in Kenya, again, as we said, are not a suggestion. There are things that we can actually demand, and there are things that we are assured of.
Yes.
My demand is for everyone to do better. If you are a person, if you know how these things happen, if you're like us here, you obviously know that it's a crime for someone to be detained illegally. If you know, make sure, like, be an Orengo who, after he was released, he went back and championed for those who are in there. All of us should be like him. Kama unajua, ambia mwenzako. Kama umeambiwa, pia wewe sambaza injili. So all of us, let us do better, let us educate, and let us empower.
And in conclusion, as we continue to ask for those who've been disappeared, wako wapi, it's to also say, yesterday we were commemorating 10 years since we promulgated the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And it's for law students, we've interacted with Professor Okoth Ogendo's writing on Constitution and constitutionalism. And I'd like to talk about constitutionalism. The Constitution is something that is living. We need to live it in our day-to-day lives. And we cannot accept the writings of the Constitution or the expression of the Constitution and evade the belief itself. We cannot implement the Constitution without that hope, that defense, and that promotion of the rule of law as a living and a guiding principle to our day-to-day lives. So the Constitution of Kenya needs to be implemented. The only way we are going to ensure that rights are protected, the only way we are going to ensure that enforced disappearance do not happen, the only way we are going to ensure that families do not continue to live their lives asking themselves, where is our loved one, is by ensuring that we implement the Constitution, because the Constitution is very clear. The Constitution was written having understood all these violations. It was written with a promise for the future, and that future is still there for us, and we need to see that future. So let's implement the Constitution. Thank you.